no,
Hunter,
there's.
what the hell did you actually do?
Well, I swapped it to blue like you told me, and for some reason it's catching the blue and the green, and now I am an amalgamation that no god will ever save.
Apparently the blue is so close to your skin that it just got you. It's somehow getting the inside of your headphones and your lip.
Oh god. I don't know why my lips. Does it get my drink? Oh, my drink's not even. You can't even see the drink. There's a drink in front of my face, man. You can see me moving it around. This is crazy. I love this. Good idea, Dexatron. Good idea.
I don't know if this is one of my better ideas.
What happens if I go magenta? Oh, shit.
Oh, my God. What the hell did it grab? Oh, jeez.
Well, good news, your shirt is... Oh, it's still really bright for you. Never mind.
It
did nothing.
It is fucking up on your lips, man. Like... Yeah.
So, well, yeah, we'll go with that for now.
Yeah, so for everyone who's wondering what we're doing, Hunter's shirt is obnoxiously blue. Like, it doesn't seem like it's real.
It's not. This is not the color of blue that I have. This is not anywhere close. I don't know why it is this vibrant. So y'all are gonna see me mess with my color correction like live on camera. So have fun with that. That's not helping.
Is it like? Is there more light in your room? Do you change light bulbs or something?
No, it's the same amount of light I've had for the last 2 years of my life. I don't see what the difference is. Is it my?
I still blame the shirt. I blame the shirt still.
Okay, now it's two. Now it's not. No, well, no. You know what? Yeah, you know. Hey guys, this is just the way to fix it. Honestly.
Don't be grayscaled.
Okay. Well, I mean, I could go the other direction, but I don't think you want that.
Point.
The last day of
holy shit.
There's a time to be brighter.
Yeah, this is as high as saturation goes. So you know, this is great. Anyhow, I'm gonna go back to normal
no,
and
Hunter, put back on that saturation for a moment.
No, you already have the VOD, man. What more
I don't
proof
care.
do you
I want
need?
to get the shot right now. Go back to all.
You already got the shot. You got the shot, buddy. What are you gonna do, huh? This is my new headshot right here. Is this it? Is this the peak of my career?
Yes.
Yep, you're right. All right, back to normalcy.
Back to normal, and you know what? That was a good enough start. Welcome back, everyone, to the For the Love of Prod, episode number 24 here. As always, we are joined by Huntertain and Megalass, and this week, we are joined by Kryy. Kryy, how are you doing here?
Hello, I'm doing good.
That's great. Thank you so much for being on. I mean, we were talking for a couple weeks trying to get you on. Finally, we were able to catch you on a good day here. Last week was, with you traveling back home from Toronto, I think I wasn't gonna necessarily, ask you to be on after you told me.
I think that was the better idea. I got home, I was very tired.
I would imagine jet lag. Like, it's something you don't think is real until you actually have one of those long flights and you get back home. It's like, holy shit, I feel awful.
Yeah, I was also going back in time, so I had to like be up for an extra couple hours because I left at like 1 p.m. EST and I came home like 12 PST. So it's like I started the whole day over again. I don't know. It was a lot.
Yeah, like when I went to Stockholm last year, I left the Newark airport at like 7 o'clock at night. So, and like, it's an 8-hour flight there, and I was thinking, okay, even if I fall asleep for like 2 hours, at least when I land there, it will be 8 a.m., and I could trick myself into thinking, like, I got a whole night's sleep.
Exactly, yeah.
That backfired on me because I didn't sleep. I could not get comfortable inside the airplane, inside those airplane seats.
No, I'm the same too. I just can't sleep on airplanes.
Yeah, like, I think it's more of a thing for me. It's like, I fear if I'm going to start randomly talking about shit in my sleep, even though I don't think I do that in general, I just don't want to know what the fuck I would say.
Go ahead.
Nope, you go ahead.
No, I'm just like, I used to be a sleep talker / sleepwalker back in my teenage days. Don't know what I ever said, but there were times where my parents would tell me, bro, you literally just like walk down the stairs. And I'm like, why did you let me do this? I was a child. Could have died. Those were wooden stairs.
Yeah,
anyhow, enough of my childhood.
You're tough enough.
Apparently.
I mean, one thing my parents have not like ever since my brother had his daughter. My parents have always said like, "Hey, we learned with you when it came to me is like if they fall over and start crying, just ignore them. They're just looking for attention."
My God.
Like they said, if I fell over, I would and started crying, they would just start doing other stuff, and I would just get up and leave the room. But hey, we've been going on maybe a little bit too long on this topic. Let's actually get into what this podcast is all about without having the need for Mega to steer the ship here. But Kryy, before we get into the two normal questions we ask everyone every week here, why don't you give us a little bit of an intro of yourself, like, and that is mostly just like what games that you work on and what roles people would most know you for.
Okay, well, I mostly do. I do actually primarily observing, and I primarily work with Overwatch. That's probably where everyone knows me from. But I have dabbled a little bit in Rivals because of Rivals Fight Night, but that's pretty much it. Like just Overwatch.
All right, and I mean, I know you said you were mostly an observer, but you've dabbled into other stuff when needed, right?
Um, I've not really. I've dabbled a little bit in, or I wanted to get into OBS like directing.
Hmm?
So like, cause I feel like I know enough about like what observers are looking to do. I was like, oh, maybe I can have a little fun with it, make the production producers' lives a bit easier by learning direction. But I didn't really get a chance to keep doing that.
All right. Well, okay. Well, let's actually get into what the two normal questions are that we do. Right. What got you into esports, and what got you in, or more specifically, what got you into doing esports production?
I got into esports just as a viewer. I was mostly watching League and then Overwatch League, and then I actually was a player, just like community tournaments. I played for like a couple years, and then I decided to do like production when my schedule got really like hectic for school and I couldn't really fit any scrims into my schedule. I was like, oh, production and observing is kind of like I don't need to be committed to it, and it's kind of whenever I'm free, I can hop in. Um, and I figured, I know a lot about the game because by that point I've been playing for like 3-4 years in just community tournaments, so I thought it'd be like a good swap.
Yeah, I mean, I think both Hunter and Mega kind of fall. I know Hunter a little bit more, where you were a player, then you got into prod. Mega, I feel gonna fuck this up, but you were also.
You can hate me. You can say you hate me. It's okay.
I don't.
True,
I'm
true.
Just sorry, but you started off as a player and then got into casting, right? Or am I just stupid?
Technically, no. Technically, I was caster first, and then I wanted to play, and then everybody in BPL was like, "You're dog shit," and I was like, "Aw," and so I stopped playing. But then, Call Rising, everybody there thinks I'm good when I'm not, and so it's kind of like a masquerade effect. But yeah, I was technically casting before anything else because that was like 2019, the Rose Cup and stuff.
Yeah. Well, Hunter, since you're kind of more closer to how Kryy got into production here, with being a player then going into the casting route, like I know we've probably talked about it in the past, but like what was one of those things that really like convinced you to say like let's try our hand on the other side of the game, where you're not playing in it but you're actually working it?
Yeah. The funny answer is just I wasn't that good at the game. I realized, hey, this is probably the point at which I'm going to peak. There's nothing beyond here but pain and suffering. But on the more realistic side, it was just one of those scenarios where I loved playing this game. I loved being a part of this game, and like many other people, I truly fell in love with esports after watching the inaugural season of the Overwatch League. That's what really got me into it. And at a point where it's like I didn't realize esports was truly, or what it truly was up until that point. Because I'm like, it's like, oh, I knew what Worlds was, you know, I knew about like it to some degrees, but the biggest reason of getting into it was just because I saw what people were able to experience seeing themselves on stream before. Being able to actually have people see them and watch them play, whether it's like their friends or whoever, sometimes even their families, which has always been a really fun experience. So for me, it became less about creating a good experience for myself and more so giving other people a good experience to be able to look back and be like, hey, I did this, and hey, these people, you know, showed off this cool thing I was able to do. And for me, that ended up being pretty important.
And I mean, Kryy, you still actively play. Like I just casted your team Polaris and I think yourself over the weekend. Granted, I don't think you guys want to necessarily talk about that game.
I don't really want to talk about that game, but yeah.
Hey, I don't think you played bad. I think there's some other people who definitely had some struggles.
You know, it's a team effort. We win and lose as a team. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, I still somehow find the time to find and play on teams still. I don't know how, but yeah.
I think especially for a league like BPL, there is that big flexibility where I mean you guys kind of have the game schedule set up so you can kind of schedule around that, and like there's always been the conversation in BPL that's like, hey, even though it's a draft league, it's supposed to be one of those more chill leagues. Granted, there are teams that definitely don't do that, and they scrim out of their mind, but there are definitely some other teams that are just there for fun. Where does your team kind of fall in that like spectrum?
I think my BPL team kind of falls in the like we want to win, you know, we want to try, but when I would say we would be scrimming a lot, but our availability is kind of ass. So we're only doing like a couple like 1 or 2 scrims a week. So it's like not super committal, which I think is like good for myself at least.
Yeah, and I mean, still, your team's one of the better teams in the entire B League.
A League, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Your team's
It's
still,
okay. It's okay.
Your team's still one of the better teams, which is really good considering some of the
Yeah.
other teams up there, and some of the names as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's always nice having. I feel like it's always really cool seeing people who want to be players first go over to prod and then find that kind of passion for it, just as they were kind of hoping to find it as being a player a little bit more. And there's definitely a lot of great examples of that in most of the leagues where you do see people that were players at one point really go over to the production side and enjoy it as much or maybe even a little bit more than playing. I mean, but considering that you still play, do you find I imagine you find though a little bit more enjoyment on the production side of it, right?
I don't know if I find more enjoyment, but I do find like the same amount of like group of people. Like, I enjoy my time doing whatever it is with the group of people I'm with. Like, I enjoy doing observing with my other observer friends. They make it really fun, and I always enjoy coming back because of that. Same with teams. It's like a bit different, but my teammates make it like enjoyable for me to play the game and keep coming back to scrim and matches and such.
Yeah, and I mean, Hunter and Mega, I mean, you guys still play in these leagues a lot. And Hunter, I know you're playing in BPL. Mega, I don't think you're playing in BPL this season. But like,
gee, thanks for bringing up the fat kid. Really appreciate it, champ.
What?
Wow.
Thanks for bringing up the fat kid. Really appreciate it. Wow, cannot believe Dexatron hates me.
That's really
I'm
nice
not
of you,
playing in
Dex.
BPL either.
Yeah.
I'm not
Anyway, as you were saying.
But like, I mean, what's your guys' kind of thing with where I said like that spectrum of, do you guys? I imagine I know the answer to it. The enjoyment level of the game you guys play, or the game of Overwatch, more playing or more production side. Like I said, I imagine I already know the answer, kind of, but like you guys, I imagine there is like a middle ground where you enjoy them at this about the same at some point.
I mean, for me personally, with this season, it has been fun for the fact that like I don't have to take it seriously. I have a tank that low key is better than me in most ways. Where I'm able to kind of just come in, play my map, have Andrew occasionally tell me, "Hey, bud, why the fuck you doing that? You need to stop that right now." But I get to go in, have fun, win a map every week, and just essentially have a good time with it. Now, when I meet Hippie again in the playoffs, you son of a gun, I'm just saying it's going to go the other way next time. That's my only BPL trash talk of the entire season, right there.
Of course, it would be Hippie.
Of course,
He's the only man. He's the only man to beat me so far. I don't get it, Hi Zay.
What the hell are you doing?
Oh yeah, I meant to have the bingo card open. There's Zay for the
You
bingo
did.
card.
Yeah.
Hey.
So
There's a bingo card?
yeah, after
Yeah,
the last
there
week's
is.
episode, Headrammer, our friend Headrammer, made a bingo randomizer for us. Here, I'll copy the link and put it down at the bottom so no one has to scroll, and I'll make sure to put it in the episode as well. Granted, there's probably some things that I feel like aren't there that should be there, and some things that are there that are
Should
really
be there.
yeah, are really dependent on a lot of stuff.
But
But he made it.
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
but anyway, yeah. In terms of playing, like, if you asked me last year, I would say I would prefer casting all day, every day, twice on Sunday. But like, I don't know, like when you're actually getting to compete and play somewhere, like that was the issue. BPL, like with how on and off I would get just vacated and left out because I was so shit at the game. Like I would never get the chance to play, right? So it's easier for me to say, oh, it's so much better to cast. But like literally, I think between the two teams I'm on right now, I have 10 scrims this week planned. And that's great for me. I'm one of those crackheads. You tell me that we're double blocking all day, every day, I'm there. You know what I mean? Like just because, like I want to learn, I want to, get even better in terms of my mechanics and stuff. Which is crazy to say as a 26-year-old absolute boomer as fuck in terms of player age, but like. I don't know. It's just like I just like playing the video game in an environment where I actually feel like I'm learning and improving myself.
Oh, age has got nothing to do with that. I being 28 years old now, I remember just later last year playing in the first major for SPCS and scrimming my balls off 4 or 5 times days a week, just trying to be legit. Hey, that's the way I say it, but scrimming as much as we could and going from like a bottom team to like map 5ing the team that went on and won the whole freaking thing. Sucks to lose, but like I'm just happy that we had such a good season that I felt like I actually did better as a tank, and I love that feeling. But I just, with the way we do face it nowadays, with the way how busy we are, it's just not realistic anymore.
I mean, we're gonna calm down here on being busy by next week.
Oh yeah, it's gonna all come through in a sweep, and then it'll just be gone.
Yeah, but like, I mean, I've never necessarily been a part of a team. Say, please get off my desk.
Well, you've been a part of a great team, an amazing team.
Yeah, yeah, and like, here's what I'm gonna say about Shoe's production crew. Like, I'm what Mega was describing herself as. I was that fat kid who didn't play a lot.
Your drink is invisible.
Hey, we either have the drink be invisible or Hunter be invisible. There's no.
Yeah, the drink is. I made the green drink today.
This looks like some water.
It's why
I already have green? Water. We always have water. We always have water sitting by. Yes, it is literally like pure green. It is like green like my green screen. It's a great drink.
Yeah, you're fucking drinking that goddamn soda or that Brazilian soda from the Incredible Hulk movie.
I wish I was, honestly. I bet I could buy that.
No. But like,
go on now.
But getting back to what I was saying, like the one or two scrims that we actually had before the CGL season started, those were actually the most fun I ever had playing Overwatch, because we were like, everyone was working towards one thing, everyone was on the same page. It wasn't like fucking around with a 6-stack, like how we do with Headrammer sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But it was just really nice to actually sit there and have people critique me, but like they're actually trying to help me and not be mean. Like I had a lot of fun doing that. But moving on here, let's get to the second part of the question here, Kryy. What kind of keeps you coming back to doing esports and esports production stuff?
Ooh, definitely the people I work with. They definitely like make it much more enjoyable to actually like do my job.
Mhm.
I definitely go insane if I had to do multiple matches. And it's just like dead silent throughout the entire time. I definitely would have gone insane, but like everyone's just like having a good time and like making jokes and whatnot. I don't know. I come back because I like the people that I work with. Um, but also I enjoy watching the game as well. I want to keep showcasing, I guess like yeah, like just the game itself. I feel like I know enough that I can kind of replicate that on stream.
Yeah, absolutely, and I mean that answer right there has really been the answer that we've gotten from a lot of people, and it's one that I think when we started this, especially after 1 or 2 episodes, I think all three of us kind of said like that is going to be the answer we hear a lot, and it's always fun to hear like how people describe just like the people coming back, because a lot of the people we work with, and I mean if people have watched this podcast from the start, it's going to sound like I'm a broken record, but they're some of the best people that I've had the pleasure of at least talking to and meeting some of them. Like they are so genuinely nice, and it is and everyone is incredibly good at what they do. It's always just a blast to come back, especially when you're working with people that you know and that you have some sort of rapport with. Like it's always fun when you're able to come in and you can just immediately hop on and start joking to people or joking about stuff with people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm one of the more quiet ones, I would imagine. So just having people who like are kind of talkative and like expressive in that way, and then it kind of just makes it all more comfortable for me. So I don't have to put myself out there too much.
Yeah, no, and like the weird thing is like when I'm actually like if the couple times I've been in person and I've met people from doing stuff online in person, it will take me like maybe 5, 10, 15 minutes to actually warm up enough to like talk outside of just like saying hello. And it's just because like social anxiety is a definite thing when you're in person. It's a little bit different when you're online, but it's still definitely there. And Hunter, I saw you shaking your head there, so I'm imagining you're kind of falling to the same boat where, like, if you met anybody you know from doing this stuff in person, you might say hi, but it will take you like a couple minutes to warm up and be back to yourself, like you are online.
Oh, yeah, I'm already socially awkward as it is being behind the camera. I cannot imagine the day where I see any of you in person and try to have a normal conversation. I'll be like, hey, nice weather we have here, huh? You always wear that shade of yellow?
That's what you go after.
Nice.
Do you?
Who are you talking
Do
to
you?
here, me or Mega?
You know what? I was gonna say Dex, but I'm gonna say Mega. Mega. Is it just the one sweater? Do you have multiple? Do you have multiple of them? Do you do laundry like daily or?
I can't get off screen. God damn it! There we go.
Well, Mega has left. Yep, she's back.
Welcome back.
No, you'll know about the other outfit.
Yeah,
Watch with the magic wand again.
Perfect. There we go.
Wow.
Wow, I'm
We
so
love to see
cool.
it.
I really wish I had asked for more outfits.
Dex,
That
where's
would've
your other
cost more
outfit,
money.
huh? You didn't come with the second outfit today, Dex? We're prepared?
I'm sorry, I can't chroma key myself to be invisible on fucking camera.
You should think about that next time, huh?
No, I can't. I'm not. It's too hot here to think about wearing a second shirt. I don't turn my AC on until I go to bed. It's 82 in my house right now.
I still don't fully understand that.
I don't want to pay. I don't want to pay for that. But we're getting off topic.
We are, but just put on energy saver mode and move on. We're good.
I don't have that here.
Oh my god. right, let's move on.
Yeah, let's just get back on topic. I mean, I'm fine getting off topic. Let's get back on topic here. But I mean, right, especially like how you kind of described it there, being a little bit quieter, and a lot of the people that we work with, I don't want to be rude, but some of them are really loud people, and will constantly just kind of talk about stuff
I
like.
wonder who you're talking about.
Who do you think I'm talking
I
about?
wonder. Ooh.
Because there's a couple people I could say.
I think a majority of the loud ones are casters.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And only some I feel like probably were loud. Don't bring together HEEBASPEEBA. We're gonna be loud, but yeah, I feel like a lot of the observers and producers are generally quiet people.
Yeah, like I'll agree with that. Hippie might be the most talkative of the producers. You have Solomon who will only talk when he necessarily needs to, unless he's actively in on like the conversation. And then the only other one that I've worked with fairly regularly would be Rhino, who we've had on the podcast before, who I think kind of falls in the middle of
Echo is talkative too.
Oh, yeah,
I don't know if you worked with Echo.
true.
Yeah.
Not
You
Echo.
forgot Echo.
I forgot Echo. She's good.
That's so.
That's-
Wait a minute. I'm
Uh,
actually DMing her right now because me and her have been playing Baldur's Gate. You're canceled, buddy.
It's over.
It might actually be canceled this time.
I don't know. Does Echo have enough care in her heart to cancel you?
Probably.
Maybe.
She probably has enough dirt on all of us here that if she wanted to, she could end our careers.
That girl knows too much about me, and I'm not elaborating any further than that out of fear of the things that will be exposed. Like, I just realized she knows far too much. I might have to kill her.
I don't think you can.
I don't think she would let you.
Yeah, I don't think she
She
or her
wouldn't
husband would
let me.
her-
That's
would let
crazy.
you. I mean, but let's actually talk about HEEBASPEEBA here, because that is a really fun group of people to work with, especially when they're all in the same production. You know, there's some wild stuff going on, and I think at this point we've had on everyone that I think of would associate with HEEBASPEEBA. I think.
Have you guys had? I know you've had Reach or have you had June on? I don't know.
No, we haven't had June.
I don't think so. No.
You guys are
Wow.
missing the 4.
Wait.
We
June changed their name. What was their original name? Because I still forget. I'm terrible.
I don't remember.
Deep Garden.
Yeah, no, we haven't had on June yet. Then, thank you, Mega, for remembering that. We haven't had on June yet. Thank you for bringing up that name, because they're added to the list.
Yeah.
Indeed. Let me put that on the potential guest list instead of the random names we've been doing.
You put in Jesus Christ. That's the only thing you've put.
Look,
on there.
I'm just saying there's a higher than 0% chance. I'm saying, okay?
Okay, but
We're putting in people who have a higher than 0% chance.
Yeah.
I have been hearing
Honestly,
a bit of slander towards the loud ones in HEEBASPEEBA. I've been told it's me, Reach, and Orange who are the loud ones.
No.
In the floor.
Like, here's the thing. Orange, about 2-3 weeks ago, asked when you were gonna be on to defend yourself, and I'm saying, and I was wondering, like, what do you mean defend them? Like, we talk about Kryy, but we normally talk about Kryy in good ways. It's normally just Orange and Reach that we talk about in the funny ways, at least.
I've been told that, like, June, or when you talk about HEEBASPEEBA on here, June is the one to be like the diffuser and like calm everyone down. I just want to say, I think June is part of the instigators of Reach and Orange, and I'm the diffuser trying to calm them down. I would just like to clear that up.
I mean, it makes sense that you'd be the diffuser, but how often does that actually truly work, especially during
it
production?
doesn't happen often. It doesn't happen often.
Is there any? I imagine one of the examples of it actually working is I would imagine it would be you actually getting pissed at them.
Yeah, but I normally don't get pissed in general. Only if something really, really bad happens, but I don't think anything like that would happen.
I mean, I could definitely see that there would be times where you could definitely get pissed, especially like I think when we had Orange on in the past, we've talked about like the random things they would do while the game was going on, just trying to get it on stream, like focusing on just different parts of the map that no one's really on. I think the one we always kind of go back to is a random series on Blizzard World. They just focused on a chair that was out in the middle of nowhere, and then
that was which one, Gibraltar, actually.
no, I was gonna bring that one up. Orange focused on a chair near one of the pylons because it got blown out there in Blizzard World. Then there's the chair in Watch Point where Orange or the observers always like to go and find it.
There's also a chair on Oasis that just is glowing for no reason. I'm pretty sure on Oasis, but no, I got that. Yeah.
Wait, I
all
have
the
a
textures are centrally located in that chair. If that chair's deleted, the map just becomes blank.
Okay, wait, so hear me out. This is completely off topic, but I have to ask because I haven't actually asked an observer yet. Does anyone have setups for the frog cams on the new map yet?
Ooh. I don't personally, but I'm sure if you asked around, some people would. I'm sure Orange has, but I have not personally.
Can I be honest about something?
Yeah, of course. Champ. It's your podcast, bro.
I don't like the frogs as much as I like some of the other stuff.
All right, so you're canceled. Fuck off.
Okay, well let's listen him out first. What do you like more than the frogs? And then what do you not like more than the frogs?
I like the ducks on New Junk City.
Okay, that's
more
fair.
than the frogs.
That's fair. What else?
I like all the small things on Midpoint or Midtown, more than frogs. That is the pigeons. That is the uwu
pizza
detergent. The pizza.
Do you love the pizza? Pizza's a good shot.
I'm trying to think of what other map. The pigeons on Surabasa are starting to fall off on me, but I'm still happy anytime I see them. I think at this point the alligators on Surabasa are more funny.
Okay.
It's not that I hate frogs. It just kind of feels like they were thrown in there just to have something for the observers to focus on.
That observers were getting something joyous and whimsical, and you just immediately said fuck no.
True.
That's crazy.
Dexatron does not want observers to have fun things. That's the headline.
The headline's just gonna be "I hate fun," isn't it?
I need you to wear the "I hate fun" shirt next podcast. It's gonna be great.
I don't have the shirt. I'm not buying a shirt either.
Come on, you're making millions from this podcast. You can buy one shirt.
A millions in what?
I don't know. Your currency, man.
Yeah, dude, you guys, think about this. Dex has single-handedly kept all of the profits from this podcast and not given me or Hunter or any of the guests anything.
Honestly.
Isn't that crazy?
You're getting paid?
Yeah, you guys are getting paid for this?
Where's our royalties, man?
I'm single-handedly...
For the love of prod, what happened?
I'm single-handedly keeping all the profits, because what are the profits? There are none.
I don't know. You haven't told us.
There are none. We haven't met any of the requirements on
YouTube. What a typical tax man would say.
Yeah, it sound like a politician.
It's all already in an offshore account.
Yeah, embezzlement.
Yeah, offshore account. It's not in Switzerland. It's in fucking Zimbabwe.
I like to say Zimbabwe is Zimbabwe.
I'm just saying you were literally in Europe last year. You could have set this all up ahead of time. I'm just saying. And he's gone.
That's true.
He's gone.
So,
well,
anyway.
I'm the host now.
I'm not the one. Hey, at least I'm the one who's getting us back on track this week. Like, I'm gonna be honest with the bingo card.
Yeah.
There is some stuff that Headrammer put on there. Is like when I looked, is like, damn, we are starting to actually slowly at some points in this podcast get away from what this podcast is supposed to be about.
I just woke up with an extra sense of let me screw things up today energy.
Okay.
It feels good, honestly.
But Kryy, I mean, when you first got in and you first started, observing, who was like your biggest help, or what was like the biggest piece of advice that you were given that kind of helped you out the most when you first started?
Ooh, it's a good one. Okay. I started observing back in, forgive me for saying this, Tranquility.
Hey, that's not a bad thing.
And I had, I believe it was Laggy-san, I think, helping me. It's, I don't know if anyone remembers him. Maybe Dex. Yeah.
Quick sidebar. He randomly messaged me like a couple days ago. And
how is he? Is he living life well?
He graduated. And I think he's just getting through his job. I want to say he's just grinding out his 9 to 5. But like, I'm happy he's doing good.
That's awesome. I'm glad he's doing well. Yeah.
And another sidebar. We've had on Unfeatured, who was one of the inspiration, whose podcast before was one of the inspirations for this. He did the podcast with Laggy. So those two are the main reason this podcast kind of exists now.
Wait, those two did a podcast before?
Yes, they did one. They did like 2 or 3 episodes of a podcast called the Prodcast, which when I was starting this up, I wanted to reach out to both of them to ask for the name because I thought that was an incredible name. But at the same time, there was that social anxiety thing where I didn't want to reach out to them because that was their thing. I said, if I'm going to start this, I want to be something, at least be named differently than what their thing was.
Yeah, that's fair. No, I like this name as well. They both have their own little like quirks to it.
You can thank Mega for the name.
Good job, Mega.
What?
Yeah.
Good
I'm
job.
not responsible for the level prod, am I?
You are.
Technically. During the first test we had, you kept on saying "for the love of God," and it finally got through to me at one of the points where it's like, oh wait, I could change a word here. We have a good podcast name.
Did we ever have other names? Not to derail too hard, but
we had ideas. I think Tech Pause was another one. And then I think you jokingly threw out there Shoes Production Shoes Production Podcast.
It was something like that, but it was definitely a bit more snazzy than that.
I think I deleted the channel that was originally our idea. Yeah. Or I just changed it to a potential guest idea.
Yeah, it got. I remember because originally I pushed it really hard with our team, and I was like, guys, this name is perfect. It's great, and I still think it's great. Honestly.
But okay, let's get back on topic here.
Sidebar.
Let's get back on topic. We sidebar enough.
All right.
What was the piece of advice that Laggy gave you?
Oh. I don't know if it was Laggy specifically, but I remember maybe the earliest piece of advice I got was because at the time I also mostly did like POV observing. So the piece of advice I got for that was just like anticipating what will happen next. A good example is starting on Ana POV when she has Nano, and then as soon as she nanos a Genji with Blade, you swap to the Genji, just so it creates that little storytelling of like, oh, Ana's nano blading. Here goes the nano bladed Genji into the fight, so you just don't see the Genji on his own. I think that is what I carried with me a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, especially having like good game knowledge and playing the game pretty often, like you do. we all do, especially as casters. Like we kind of understand when we truly expect Ultimate to come out, and I imagine it's the same thing in the calls or in the prod call while you're working on a series where everyone's kind of talking about like, and I've definitely sat in on some where I can hear like all the observers being very focused and locked in and saying like, you know, they're gonna nano or they're gonna do whatever ultimate it is coming up here, and more times often than not, like you guys are absolutely right on it. Like, does the anticipation is a big thing, but does the fact that you actively still play the game and still kind of understand the ins and outs really help a lot with that?
I think it used to help me a lot when I was starting to get into observing, but I think now it just kind of helps. Playing the game actually just helps me understand like the current meta, um, and like what each character I guess is looking to do in the meta. Because if it's a weird meta, then actually playing helps me understand. But if it's just like a normal like brawl or like a poke comp, then it's kind of self-explanatory. Um, but yeah, I don't think it impacts as much as it does now.
I mean, I'm trying to think of like what was the biggest piece of advice given to me when I first started casting, and it like I hate to say it, but it was just I think some players at my college coming up and telling me like, you understand what the fuck is going on? Because right now you suck.
They told you that?
Yeah,
Straight up?
like some of the players, like when I started casting was when my school started an esports program. I sucked at the game. It's in a newspaper saying why I started casting. And after one of the like my first time casting, the players came up to me and said like, we heard you while we were playing. You don't have any idea what the fuck is going on. What are you doing here? And it was just like, oh, okay. And then I think for the next 2 weeks, I basically spent all my time playing the game more, playing nothing but comp, and just watching any sort of like official broadcast that I could get of people casting the game to have a better understanding of it. But I feel like being an observer is a little different, just because you have first person, what you're talking about, but there's also third person as well, where you have to, you know, understand a lot. I think third person is definitely a little bit harder because you have to position everything, you have to angle everything a lot better to be able to continue telling that story. I mean, I imagine you have done third person observing.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, but I think I can agree. Third person is a bit trickier because you need to like see where the fight might happen and position yourself for it. And if you're wrong, then you better get moving.
I mean, what's some of the biggest? I mean, I think I kind of touched on it, and you kind of did there. Like, what's kind of the biggest things though? Like, you've done third person a couple times. Like, what are some of the biggest things that you kind of have to keep in mind when you are doing third person observing?
Any like big impactful ultimate, I would say. So like EMP is a good one. Um, yeah, I'd say like EMP, like you can be able to get like a shot of that EMP hitting whoever is like in range. I think that's like something to look out for. I guess also like objectives for like C9s or anything. I feel like I haven't done enough third person like pre-camming to actually say like what it is you should be looking out for, but that's what I would keep in mind.
Yeah, and I mean, Mega, I'm gonna come over to you now for a moment because you observe a little bit. You observe for games. Hunter, you have started to observe a little bit with the Faceit stuff here, and I know you do first person, primarily first person. Hunter, Mega, what role have you fallen into when you do observing? Is it first? Is it third? Is it a little bit of a mix?
I beg and plead to do first person because third person requires far too much brain power. Like first person, I can get away with being so abysmally bad at observing, which isn't like I'm not saying intentional, but like I don't want to be an observer. Like the shout out to the observers, because they do something that I could not do. But like first person, it makes so much more sense to me because, like Kryy was saying, as long as you're understanding kind of the flow of the game, where it's going, like as long as you know, oh hey, this person's probably going to have the pop off moment, then the first person is not. I'm not going to say easy, but it's simpler than third person, where you have to establish the right angles, you have to be at the right levels, you have to do like I've talked with people about doing third person observing because again, I want to be able to dabble my hand, know a little bit of everything, but like third person's crazy. Like the fact there are people who are smart enough on this planet to do that, like shout out to them. I can't do it.
Like it seems incredibly difficult because, like we've already mentioned, you have to position yourself almost correctly every time. And this is like I brought it up, I believe, a week or two ago on the podcast. But when me and Hunter are doing the face of games, we are both in the game actually observing. But I'm third person the entire time, but as high up as you could possibly get in the map, just to see the entire fight. And I know Hunter hates this a little bit because I'll start talking about something that happened completely far away from wherever he was observing the fight because I was able to see it. Like Hunter, I know you have to get a little bit frustrated with that, especially when I start talking about a player that probably wasn't anywhere near the player you were observing.
I wouldn't say I hate it. It's just a flow thing, I guess. That's the best way to put it. I don't really mind it because obviously, if you say something, my brain is like, "Oh, okay, that's probably worth looking at," and usually it is. There's the occasional like, "Oh, why am I on the dead support?" That's a good question. Why is this happening? Um, but no, I take that as the indication because we kind of get that freedom a little bit that we don't typically get when we're working with like other producers and observers of like, hey, I want to watch this specific person because I think, okay, this is probably the right moment. And sometimes it is, sometimes it's not. Sometimes you miss a 2K pulse bomb and you're like, oh, why did I get off the tracer? That was a choice.
Yeah. That actually kind of leads into a good question here. Right, being that first person observer, and especially with a game like Overwatch, where there's ultimates that can change not only the course of a fight but potentially a map and a series. Like, what is it like when you are observing something and you hear an ultimate come out, you don't expect it to really find much, so you're not really following it, and then it finds so much value that you're kind of kicking yourself that you missed it. Like, what's kind of going through your head in that situation?
Whenever that happens, I just like I start getting I want to say like angry at myself. I just get upset that I missed it. I'm like, oh, I could have been on them. I was thinking about it, but I decided not to, and then I ended up missing like a really good clip for it. It's like, well, I mean, there's not much you can do. You can move on, look for the next thing, but I just kind of get upset at myself for missing it. But I mean, also there's like, it's if you have like one like POV observer and then one free cam observer, I think they kind of can work really well together because the free cam can like make a call out for something that's happening that the observer might not realize. Like, oh, there's a tracer flanking, and you can see it in the free cam, but probably the POV observer can't see. It's like, oh, okay, so that can be a really good clip. So I'm gonna go swap, and then like vice versa as well. So I think with the help of others, it makes it easier. But when I do miss it, I just kind of I get upset. But yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I would imagine even like us as casters, when we miss something, it like we kind of kick ourselves down as well. Like because it's sometimes something really cool, sometimes it's something really funny. I forget what it was. Like I was casting Hippie's series last night, and the team they were playing had a Junker Queen that rampaged off the map.
Oh no.
On Busan in an overtime fight.
Oh no.
And I like we saw it. I think we saw it in both first and third person. I just think I just started laughing, because of how bad and how funny it truly was. Because that's kind of just the throw, but like, I mean, so let's go from missing it to let's go to the other side of it. being on the right person, like you have this insane play happen. I imagine like it's the exact opposite. You're from going from one end to kicking yourself to the other side of. You are probably feeling like the best observer in the world. Is that kind of the case?
Yeah, I don't want to get too gloatful, but
No,
it just
gloat.
feels insanely rewarding to be able to catch something, like especially if it ends up being clipped and like spread around. I think a good example was uh, on the Face It Masters broadcast a couple months back. I remember there was a pulse bomb that Orange caught that got clipped and shared on Twitter. I don't know. I feel like that's probably like the best, like a really good feeling to have if you do manage to catch something like insane.
Yeah, and I mean, you actually bring up really a good point right there, and something that we probably should ask about here, especially as being an observer, and being behind the scenes a little bit, or being behind the scenes completely. You know, the players will get recognition, the casters will get recognition for calls. Like you just said, Orange in that play, it probably felt really good for Orange, but like, where the fuck am I going with this? God damn it. Sorry. Like, I can't put it together. God damn it.
Is it like
do you wish?
do I not, or do I feel like I'm missing out by not getting recognition?
Yes.
Or
Do you wish that yourself and observer or observers just in general got more kind of recognition, outside of maybe just a name at the end of a credits scene during a year? Like we would like more and more productions would actually shout out their observers during games or during broadcast at some point.
I think it would be nice to, but I can imagine like it's a lot for, I think, just for casters to remember to bring up every single time. But again, I think if it's something like a clip being maybe spread around, maybe it would be nice to have like a tag of like who it was that caught it. But sometimes as well, it's hard to like remember or like get who the observer was for that specific shot. I mean, I'm gonna go back to like me playing on teams. I'm used to not getting recognition because of the role I play. I play main support, so I'm used to not getting that recognition. It's like, you're doing a good job, and like people appreciate it, but they don't directly know it's you. But you just know you're doing a good job.
Yeah, it's like a line I always say with support players in general. If we're not talking about them, it means they're
Yeah.
doing their job.
Yeah,
They're
exactly. If you don't see me Ajaxing last point, last fight, then I'm doing my job.
yeah, like the only reason you talk about supports is if they are having that bad of a game, it's costing their team, or if the only reason their team is winning is because they are doing so much. Like
Yeah, yeah.
I always pair or compare it to like, yeah, the offensive lineman of Overwatch is a support role, because you won't get credit for throwing the touchdown or opening or making the hole for the running back to run through, but without you there's not that.
Yeah. You're like the invisible like hero of the team,
Mhm.
and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, and like I always try when I'm the person who's signing off to at least give a shout out to everyone behind the scenes, because like like I said, you observers, producers as well, and even replay ops, and whatever other role there is behind the scene during an actual broadcast, I always try to shout them out to make sure that they get some recognition for it, even though, like you said, as observers, no one necessarily knows what feed you're watching during it, but still, you guys are putting in like everyone behind the scenes outside of casters are putting in much more work than the casters.
There's a lot more going on, I'll say that at least. There's a lot of things going on.
um but let's get in, unless Hunter or Mega, you guys want to add on anything before I go on to the next question. Cool. Okay.
Yeah, no, I can't. Nothing's in that brain of mine.
Yeah, so you did touch on a good thing right there, especially we don't always know what's going on behind the scenes. And I imagine this is with productions that have, more than one producer and more than one observer and anything else there is. Like, what is it kind of like to be in those, I don't want to say those hectic lobbies or those hectic production calls where there's maybe like 3-4 observers. But I would imagine at some point it does get to that because you have everyone talking, trying to get their perspective put on camera. Was it like when you have all those voices talking and just trying to make sure that you're still putting out the best observation that you possibly can?
I just feel bad for the producer having to pick a feed with everyone yelling at them. It's like, oh, I got this really cool shot. It's like, no, take me, take me. I'm just chilling. Like everyone talking doesn't really bother me. I can still do my job. uh, yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm fighting for it to get taken to be on broadcast, but it's like that's not up to me.
Yeah, but I mean, especially like as you said, you describe yourself as kind of quiet. In those situations, I imagine you do have to you would have to speak up, especially with
Yeah.
some people we've had on the past, like Reach, like Orange, who aren't afraid to get loud and stay loud. Like, what do you have to try to match that energy, or do you know based off the producer who's or the director or producer who's controlling what everyone sees, like that if you're still gonna get your time to or your angle gonna be put on feed, like what's your kind of go-to?
Oh no. If I get something really good, I'll be loud about it. I'll start not screaming, but just really loudly saying, I got this, take me, take me. Yeah. I mean, I'll speak up if I need to.
And I mean, Mega, since you've done a little bit of observing before, and have you observed with more than one observer before?
Yes. Not often, but yes. Uh, I mean, it's one of those things where obviously the more observers you have, it's just super nice. I've never had like multiple observers though, where it's like, oh, I can like actually be confident and just be like, oh, I know they're covering all this other stuff. Da, 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 da. Like, there's never real fun banter for me for observing, mostly because I'm stuck with Mara anytime I've ever observed. And so instead of banter, it's just like a heck you type situation, back and forth. But yeah,
Mara would be a fun person to have on, but I just don't. I just haven't reached out to them just yet. But I mean, I feel like there's different types. That there would be different types of you like. Where the fuck am I going with this? That there would be different types of ways that you would have to know how to communicate with some observers. Like here, let me ask it like this, Kryy. Like when you're starting to work, when you are observing with another observer who might be kind of new, what's your kind of go-to with it? Are you trying to help them out as much as you can, or are you just letting them go off on their own and kind of a trial by fire?
I will generally let them do what they think they should be doing, but every now and then I'll try and give them like a piece of advice they can follow just to make it like a bit easier on them, but I don't tell them exactly what they need to do every time.
And I mean, kind of going all the way back to what was going back to the question we asked a little bit ago. What was the biggest piece of advice when you started? What what was one thing that you kind of found on your own or you found it on your own, or maybe you heard you saw people doing it a certain way, but one thing that you've picked up along the way here that has been really really helpful to you?
One thing that's been really helpful. I think when I'm doing like soloing, it's just like being smooth with camera movement.
Hmm.
Not like shooting off trying to get to another direction. See if and instead like seeing if I can slowly like I guess fly over to where I want to go. Same with like looking around. Also with changing POVs to not jump too often, because I know that can get confusing for both like people watching and also casters who are like trying to understand. But if you keep like jumping between players and like everything's going on, then it becomes a lot. So I generally try to pick someone and stay on them until someone else seems to be more interesting, or like an ultimate, or if they die, things like that.
Yeah, I understand that, especially like the couple times I've done Face It, either on my own or the one time I did it with Mega. Like I was trying to always just make sure I wasn't jumping, like I wasn't 1 second on one person, 1 second on another, and just going back and forth. It would always try to be like a consistent and smooth, I guess, way. But anytime there was like an ultimate that maybe lasts longer than a second, I would try to stick on them. But Hunter Mega, like what is your guys' kind of way of doing that as well? Like just when you're the solo observer, like trying to keep everything in order here.
I just cry. Not like our guest cry, I just shed
That's
tears.
me.
I just like shed tears and I just say, like whoever my producer is, I normally just say I'm so sorry like 18 times. I normally punch my desk once or twice. Like you think like this sounds like I'm playing something up for the bit. This isn't. This is exactly like it's the like observing stresses me out so much, and especially solo observing I've had to do a few times. Like it's just so unbelievably stressful because like solo observing, even if you know what you're doing, is so punishing because like it's going to look scuffed purely for the fact of like you cannot maneuver yourself when you are the only camera. Like people are going to see you flip between people. People are going to see you try to establish a camera shot or something like that. It's so unbelievably sad.
Yeah, that is the difficult part about solo observing, is that if you don't have things set up beforehand, you don't really have that ability to seamlessly jump around. So obviously, when I'm in, I'll try to do like just the slow transition throughout the map. But in terms of being in it, I try to get to everybody at least once during the map, because obviously there are going to be people that I'm on more than others. Like if we have somebody who is out there just popping off, having a good time of it, I'm instinctively going to go on them more, because I feel like that's just how it is. I feel like it can be that simple. But every once in a while I have to jump to the Baptiste that's hanging around the backline doing their thing. If they have the Ant Matrix, it's like, okay, this might be my only time to get something like, you know, something really cool out of that. So you just got to make sure not to keep rotating between the same like 2 or 3 people, even if it's really tempting because they're getting final blows every single fight. Because I'm sure the Zenyatta wants to be on the camera once in a while. I'm sure that'd be a fun little moment.
I imagine every Zen wants to be on camera a lot here.
Like
But Kryy, I mean, you talked about produce or observing in multiple games here. What is going from let's just do Overwatch to Rivals. Like what was one big thing you needed to learn here? Or like here, one big thing you needed to learn and one thing that was very easy to cross over with observing that game.
Well, the one easy thing was just look at whoever has an ultimate. That's probably the easiest thing when I was doing Rivals from Overwatch. And then one of the harder things was, I guess, keeping track of people like during team fights. Because like I can stay on a DPS, but usually it's not just a DPS in that game. The tanks and supports can be doing a lot more as well. And the team fights I found are way more hectic in Rivals, and it doesn't help my PC drops frames whenever there's a Doctor Strange portal on the screen. So that doesn't help. But yeah, I would just say the harder part was just figuring out who to focus on during team fights.
Yeah, I would imagine that, especially with rivals, and like you talked about right there, the performance of rivals. Is it here, off topic? Is the performance in rivals better now than when it first launched? I imagine the easy answer is yes, but like, have they?
Uh, uh, maybe a little bit. I remember some of the issues I was having with Rivals had to do with Steam itself. Like the Steam in-game overlay was a reason why I would have sudden like drops to 1 FPS in-game, which was an easy fix, but I think generally the performance has been the same, at least for me.
All right, yeah. Like the biggest problem I had with the game was I would be loading into a lobby, and it would stay at 99% for like 4 minutes, and I would eventually join in and it'd be like, "Hey, the game's almost over. Where were you?"
Yeah, I was unlucky. I've never had that happen to me before.
But like learning a new game, especially one like Rivals, where there is a lot of shit like on the screen all at once. And granted, Overwatch is starting to get back to that as well. But Rivals, like you said, one big thing with Doctor Strange's portals, I feel like that in itself is just a really interesting and fun thing to observe at points. But I feel like is it more interesting fun or interesting annoying?
I would I would say interesting fun because a lot more can happen once it starts to get going. Like it is annoying, but I think like what could happen outweighs the annoying parts.
And while we're still on Rivals here, I mean, you talked about that you have done it with Fight Night, and we've had on Solomon in the past who talked about Fight Night and everything that kind of went into it here. Um, just Fight Night in general seems like this incredibly well-run production. Like, what has kind of been your experiences with it? Because like the way Solomon and like the way that I've seen it from being able to watch it, like it is some of the top tier talent in just esports itself, like playing the game and casting it. What is it? What is it like to kind of be working the observation for that when you know you have like really big talent alongside you?
It's a little nerve-wracking, especially when you see the talent cast and you see all the big names like Avast and I think like oh I can't remember who else is on there, but it's a lot of like the big names you would recognize, especially from like Overwatch.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's a little intimidating in that part, but generally like the production crew is all the same. Like it's the same people as BPL
Hmm.
basically. So it's like you know what everyone does, you know what the flow of work is. So it wasn't too hard getting into that.
And like that's one thing I'll always give BPL a lot of credit for is the I don't want to put this wrong and make it sound bad, but the people that have been there for so long and who have worked BPL for so long are this incredibly talented group of people that I mean we're starting to see a lot of BPL talent actually get like recognized for their good work and starting to get these huge incredible gigs. And I want to I don't god damn it I don't want to be wrong with it, but I imagine I know you're starting to get some really good gigs as well, right?
Yeah, recently there have been a couple of gigs that have been really cool to work on. Um, that I haven't been able to get a chance to. Like, well, I wouldn't imagine I'd be able to work on before.
And like I like that is always a great like I forget who we had on what episode it was, but like we all kind of said it's great that you guys like a lot of the people that we know, a lot of people that we all call friends are starting to get like this big attention and starting to get these really big uh roles in like huge productions, and it's always great to see it because like we've already said, like I've said, like everyone behind the scenes outside the casters don't get the recognition they deserve, and getting those big events is like getting to work those big events. I imagine is like it's we've talked about in the past with other people like the I've made it moment, but is that what you would consider as well?
Oh, I actually have never thought about the I made it moment.
Mm.
It's just been kind of I don't know. It's just really cool to like be a stream and be like, yeah, I worked that. That's my work out there. Um, but I wouldn't say I've really made it yet. It's just a bunch of cool gigs one after another. But yeah, still a long way to go.
And I think that's always the right way to put it. Even if like I think we all three or a lot of us here have said we've had those I've made it moments. They're in the end though, they're just really cool events that you're hoping that you're able to talk about and use to like say get you to that next big thing you really want to get to. And it's always cool to see whether it be our casting friends or our production friends start to get these bigger and bigger events. It's always just a fun thing to see.
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely agree. I'm always happy to see a name I recognize on a stream as well.
But here, so you go from working with big talent, but you're still working with this core group of people. Like, I don't necessarily, you don't have to answer this one if you do, but if you want, but who is by far maybe your like favorite person to work with?
My favorite.
You don't have to answer this one unless in case you just don't want to in case you don't want to potentially piss someone off, but like who is your favorite person or you could say who's your favorite group of people to work with?
Well, I gotta say HEEBASPEEBA then. I mean, I enjoy everyone that I work with. Uh, I guess just cause like the four like June, Orange, and Reach, uh, like I know that they're like good at what they do, and it's also they always try to make everything like fun in the moment, make jokes. So I think I just enjoy the most time whenever we get the chance. Actually, I should say that because we never get scheduled together because it's just four of us. Um, but whenever we do get a chance, then it's I enjoy that. Yeah.
And just a quick explanation for people who don't know what HEEBASPEEBA is. Kryy, why don't you tell us what HEEBASPEEBA is?
Okay. HEEBASPEEBA. Well, the name originated from health bars, space bars, because back in the day, you had to manually turn on health bars and while you're spectating, and space bar was to go in first person. So you would always have to make sure before or when you get into map to turn on health bars and go into first person. Um, so that evolved into HEEBA and SPEEVA, shortcut names for health bar, space bar. Um, yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I don't really remember how it kind of came to the four of us either, because I know we worked events in the past, but I don't remember how it came to just us four.
I think it's probably just something where it was so like you guys would use it so much that it just got associated with you. Like
Probably, yeah.
there's a whole thing with what Hippie has with real shit prod, where all of his I forget what the technical theme is, but all of his like servers that you'll like log into or connect to for productions when you're working with him are RSP whatever the thing is after that, because he's named everything that like is associated with him real shit real shit prod.
I forgot about that, yeah.
Yeah. It's really funny because I think real shit prod at the start was him unfeatured and laggy, and now I think it's kind of evolved into a couple
Oh,
other people as well, and just his normal thing. But I mean, HEEBASPEEBA is like the couple times I've observed as well. It's like okay, I need to remember to do this. Like I've actually told myself okay. Fucking HEEBASPEEBA. Just make sure you have that shit ready to go. Don't fuck this
Yeah.
up. But yeah, Hunter, Mega.
Hey.
Any questions about anything that Kryy does, or just in general? You want to ask Kryy?
Here's a question I've actually asked multiple people because I think it's a very simple question to ask, and whether I do or do not have the answer, I'm sure somewhere out there someone doesn't. So, why Kryy? Why is Kryy the name?
Oh, that is a good question. Cry actually comes from a I basically had a name and I sliced off Cry, the KRY part, and added an extra Y because I thought it looked cooler with two Ys. Um, it came from my original username, which was CrystalHawk5, and like I thought to myself, I'm not walking around with that name anymore, so I cut off the KRY from Crystal. And yeah. That's yeah.
I mean, that is a good explanation and a good reason for it.
Yeah. I mean, I like it. I
Yeah.
think it's a good. It ended up being a really good name, so I'm happy with it.
Yeah, it's a really good name. Like it's really good, and it's like the best thing about it, really easy to pronounce, and it's short enough that no one really has to try to figure out how to pronounce it.
That's true. I mean, to be fair, I've had a couple of people pronounce it like Kryy, like so. I don't know how they're getting that, but I've had that a couple times.
I think they see the second Y, and they're just like, okay, this isn't Kryy.
Maybe, yeah, probably.
Yeah. But Mega, do you have any questions for Kryy?
How's your day today?
How's my day been?
Yeah.
My day has been awesome. I played rank before this, and I won, so.
Already doing better than me this season. I mean, I think, Kryy, do you have any questions for us? I think we're starting to wind down here.
Say so.
I want to ask, what do you find the most rewarding out of doing this?
I think the easy answer, at least for me, is being able to have all of our guests come on and show, probably show and talk about themselves more than potentially what they've done in the past. It's always, I think it's always really interesting to figure out, like, especially like how everyone got in, because while there might be a lot of similarities in how everyone started with it, it's always fun to figure out how people truly started with esports and then esports production, and what kind of keeps them coming back. It's always fun to hear, though, like, people passionately talk about just what they do. Like, there's a couple episodes where we've had people go on, and talk about something for 15-20 minutes, and granted, while it's a podcast and I like to hear all of us talk, having someone talk for that long about something that has to do with esports production really shows you how passionate they are about it, that they could go on longer with it, but we normally stop them.
Fair enough, yeah.
Hunter, Mega, do you guys have an answer?
By the way, Mark Hunter zones out on the bingo card really quick because that's what I just did for like 10 seconds there.
I think Headhammer has that there for, like, you zone out for 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, it's fair. I don't think I had a true zone out moment. I'm proud of myself today. Hey, you'll watch the VOD later, whatever. But to be fair, in terms of doing this, I just like to be the guy that comes on here, gets to hear about someone's story every single week, and throw in a few jokes in there at some point. That's what I enjoy specifically about this, just from my own perspective, because I'm not the guy that, I'm not the main host. I'm not the guy who's talking all the time. I don't prefer to be the guy that's talking all the time. But if I can throw in a couple of quips, get a fun clip, ask a couple of good questions, that right there is enough to make me pretty happy doing this every single week.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like Dex said, like, even if somebody thinks they have a similar story to someone else, like, it's just interesting, because like, these are the sort of things where when we're sitting in a VC together, like, we don't ask each other, this is like when we're in VC together, it's normally silly stuff, like, just like whatever the funny meme is in the moment. But yeah, overall, it's just a fun time to get to learn about my fellow peers and friends and stuff.
True.
You're just a bunch of friends asking your group of friends what they like doing about prod.
Yeah, it's always really fun to find out more about everyone. But Mega, is there anything else that you want to talk about before we go?
I've given up on the salt bit. It's
You've given
gone.
up?
I've been AFK so many weeks. I don't know where it's at anymore.
We didn't ask it last week.
That's what I'm saying. It's just gone.
It could be, but just Kryy, do you even know what we're talking about? First of all,
No, I have no idea.
I mean, the possibility's there, Mega. You could
do it for
try.
one final time, Mega.
You should do it. I have no idea what it is, but you should do it.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like, you ever watch the show Blue's Clues, Kryy?
I have.
So, like, there's the salt shaker, Mr. Salt, right? He's vibing on the table. He's got Mrs. Pepper. They got Paprika.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Mr. Salt, that's the guy right there. Did you know that he is listed on the Blue's Clues wiki as being one of the names on the his name is on the deed of the house? Like,
he's
he owns
the
the
owner
house.
of the house.
He owns the
He's
house.
the owner of the house.
He's the owner of the Blue's Clues
Yeah.
house.
He's the owner. Like, human beings have to pay rent to a salt shaker.
I would not trust that man with my money.
Well, wait, you don't wait, do you think Mr. Salt's like embezzling it, or like
maybe.
You know,
I wouldn't trust Mr. Salt with my money though.
that's actually such a unique approach. I've never heard anybody say that. Wow.
Yeah.
Immediately just the distrust in Mr. Salt. That's crazy.
Let me just ask Grok really quick. He probably knows.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Kryy, I'll give you a little bit of backstory here on why Mega was hesitant to ask this. The last time she asked it was to Soab. And Soab, he knew the question, but he immediately pivoted to the fact that he knew Joe, the second human that was ever in the Blue's Clues house. He went to college with him.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
You know, I don't blame him for pivoting. That's kind of cool.
It wasn't really even much of a pivot. It's like, oh yeah, I went to college with the guy. He just kind of sat there like, what?
Wow, that's cool.
But I still think we can get. I still think we can get some mileage out of this question. But I mean.
Okay. See, I don't mind asking the question. It's just I'm in the process of setting up a scrim in the background here, so I just was my brain is not here anymore. I apologize.
No, you're good. But I mean, we're getting to the end here anyway. Kryy, hey, thank you so much for being our guest this week. I really think it was best that we didn't try to push you last week because I don't know how good you would have been for that one.
I would have been out of it.
Yeah, which I mean that might have led to some funny stuff, but I think for the best. You coming on this week was really fun. Right, again, thank you so much. Hunter, Mega, again, thank you as always for joining me here for this show. And everyone who's watching, again, thank you so much, or listening. Thank you so much. Make sure you tune in next week when we'll have someone on. You know the joke at this point. I have no idea who it's going to be on. Like, I reached out to Kryy on Saturday. That's a whole day. That's a whole day before I normally start reaching out to people. But yeah, thank you so much. Make sure you follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube, follow on Spotify, subscribe, I forget. But hey, again, thank you so much for tuning into this episode of For the Love of Prod. Make sure you tune back in next week, y'all. Bye.